Hello everyone, right now I'm doing a pretty cool muscle up training, but that's not the point, because this weekend I'm going to run another sky race of the championship that I talked about a couple months ago. And well, we're going to have a pretty cool race trip, so I want to take you with me. But today is only Wednesday and the race as usual is on Sunday, so now I'm going to finish this workout and then I'm going to take you home, and after that I'm going to take you to another race this evening. While past me is training, let's talk about this race. This race is going to be a vertical. Well, not the full distance, because it's only going to be 3.3 kilometers with 700 meters of elevation gain on paper, even though I know that it's going to be a bit less, around 600. My goal for this race will be to stay under 29 minutes. Let's see if I make it. The race started with a pretty plain part, and there I was going really fast, and probably that wasn't really a good idea, because as I got to halfway point, where my dad was, I was pretty much dying, and I still had to run half the race. From there, I kept pushing up these crazy uphills, and somehow I managed to finish this race in 8th position with a time of 28 minutes and 11 seconds. Way faster than I expected. And with this, the first day ended. On the next day, we started our journey to Abruzzo, but I'm going to spare you all the highway parts because they were really boring. We ate lunch right outside the highway station, exactly as us Polski people can do, and after a couple more hours of highway, we finally got to Pescara. And there we went for a run. Giusto. This was an easy run because I had to recover from the race on the previous day. But what can I say? Pescara is a beautiful place. After the run, we had dinner with a friend, and then we set our campsite up for the night. And this was day 2. Day 3 started with 2 hours of relax on the beach, and this just improved all the good takes that I had on the east coast of Italy. But after lunch, we started our journey to get to Campo Imperatore. This place is a really cool place up in the mountains of the Abruzzo, and it was where we had to spend the night. The road to get there was pretty long, but still easily drivable, and as we got there, we decided to hike to the nearest hostel to see the cool mountains and also the really good view. Then, as usual, we set our campsite up, we ate dinner and we went to sleep. And this was all day 3. On day 4, we started our journey to get down and to get to L'Aquila. And there the locals were really kind. They showed us where the race course was, so we went for a run to check on it, also because I had to do a shakeout run before the race. And after that, they invited us to lunch. But first, let's talk about this race. This race is going to be a 12 kilometers and a half race with 700 meters of elevation gain. It's not going to be easy because it's going to be really hot, at least for us Italian, because it's going to be 30 degrees and I don't think I'm ready. But still, the race starts with a pretty long ascent, and after that it's pretty much all descent, if not for a couple of parts that are up and downs. At the bottom of the descent there is a really tough wall that is going to be hard to deal with at the end of the race, and then again it's just descent until the finish line. My goal time will be the record, the sit proud, at 1 hour and 6 minutes and a couple more seconds. I have no idea if I'll be able to beat it, but still I'm going to try my hardest. But well, after lunch we decided to visit L'Aquila. That was probably one of the best cities, maybe even the best city we saw during this journey. And then we went to check on the Mammut in the museum because I wanted to see how big was the beast that I was going to fight on the next day. After that we go back to the race course start because we had to set our campsite up, but it started pouring like crazy and the tent got really wet even though it was inside this cover on the car. The
tent is all wet.
And we were expecting
What a can.
a pretty tough night, but as usual, it was better than we expected. And with that, day 4 was over. It's time for race day. On race day, I woke up really early because I had to eat breakfast at least 2 hours before the race start, and then I had to prepare the last few things before the race start. As time was ticking, I started warming up, and I did something really easy because I didn't want to blow up before the race. And then, as we all got to the start line, this race started. Even before the race, I already knew who were my toughest opponents. And as I saw a guy surge through the crowd right at the start, I knew he was his man. So I got behind me and I stayed with him for all the first ascent.
Segui il local. Bravi.
On the wall, on the first wall, I was feeling really well, so I decided to try and pass him. And after a couple of meters, I managed to get the lead. But I saw that the guy down in the group was hunting us down, so I decided to pick up the pace and grow a gap between me and them. And I don't know if this was a good idea or not, but I will pay the price later. I started the descent feeling fire. I was going down strong, but my legs were becoming sorer and sorer every minute. At some point, I got to an up and down path, and that absolutely destroyed my leg, and I wasn't even at half the race. As I got to this point, my dad asked me if he could throw me some water, but I said no. And that was probably a pretty big mistake, because yes, until now I was going pretty fast, I was feeling overall fine, but I didn't know that it wouldn't last much longer.
Vai, vola.
I started climbing, and at the start I was going strong, I was going fast, but then I slowed down and I started feeling dizzy. On the top of the wall I had just 3.5 kilometers to go, but my head started spinning, and this descent was probably the hardest. I decided to keep pushing, and I was pushing pretty hard, but my head was spinning faster and faster with every step. At some point, my legs gave out and I had to stop. This was really tragic. At only 2 kilometers from the end, all of my legs started cramping, and they were cramping really hard. I stopped. I took a water bottle and I started walking because I couldn't run. I knew that the people behind me were going to pass me, but still I could do nothing about it. But I didn't want to end this race. I didn't want to DNF. So at some point I found the strength to start running again. But of course it wasn't enough. All the gap that I had from the second guy, like even for the third guy, wasn't enough. They managed to pass me only 1 kilometer from the finish. But somehow I managed to finish this race, not in third, that would have been great, but in fourth place, with a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes and 28 seconds.
Ale Pietro!
Domenico Volpe che completa la terza posizione e salutiamo Pietro che è il papà con il...
I'm not going to say what happened after, because it was complete chaos. I remember a little bit of it, because I know I went to the ambulance.
E allora Pietro,
I pantaloni che sono stretti.
com'è andata?
Oh, vabbè, quarto.
Quinto?
Sono quinto? Chi mi ha passato?
Sì, cammina. Poi...
But after that it was pretty much all fog in my head. But well, what can I say? At least I got the third place and I didn't DNF.
1 ora e 10, Fornelli Pietro.
Well, what can I say? This race really didn't go as I planned. I can't say that it was bad because still I got a 4th place and a pretty good time overall. But it couldn't have been a lot better. Oh well, now I have a race in just a couple of days and I'm kinda shitting myself because I'm really scared that this is going to happen again. But still, I think that with this experience and everything that I learned from it, I'm not going to nail this race because my legs are still completely cooked, but still I'm going to get a pretty good result. So stay tuned because I'm going probably to upload a video even for that, I wish. And well, I'm not going to give you any of my consideration because I pretty much know what my mistakes were, and I'll try to not make them again in this race or in any other race anytime soon. I want to do this race again next year because I want to smash it, because this time I got smashed. Well, thank you for staying until the end. I have no idea of how this video will come out or when it will come out, but still, thank you. And with that, I'll see you in my next race very soon.